David Card and Alan B. Kruger, authors of the book Myth and Measurement, published in 1995, both said an increase in the minimum wage could use some firms to increase employment and others to reduce it. As of today in our society, the minimum wage has a positive effect towards employees, and to continue the satisfaction of employees, the minimum wage should be increased. Some of the citizens in the United States are employed and paid by their amount of time at work. So the law of the minimum wage requires employees to pay their employees depending on the amount of time they have worked. So according to James Shirk, author of the article What is the Minimum Wage? Its History and Effects on the Economy, published in June 26, 2013, he states higher minimum wages both reduce overall employment and encourage relatively affluent workers to enter the labor force, and is convincing that by raising the minimum wage, it is possible that the many future employees will have the opportunity to join the labor force. As a freshman in college, I was eager in pursuing a job at a local fast food restaurant. Unfortunately, the price of the minimum wage wasn't a convenient amount of a pay. Therefore, I refused to be an employee for the fast food company. Therefore, I support the opinions of others who agree to raise the minimum wage. The act of raising the minimum wage can result in decreasing the unemployment rate, and it can increase the income of those who work. So by doing this, it can really help the economy and help the employees raise their income. So by doing so, it can motivate others in seeking to obtain a job, including myself. First, I will discuss the significance of how the world can lower the rates of unemployment. I will then go over on how increasing the minimum wage can help strengthen an employee to be motivated to succeed. So let's go over the significance of the unemployment rate and how it is possible to decrease it. So in order to understand the significance of the unemployment rate, of how the unemployment rate can be decreased, we need to be informed that raising the minimum wage can be the number one solution of this concern. According to Jared Bernstein and Sharon Parrott, authors of the proposal to straighten the minimum wage, would help low-wage workers with little impact on employment, published on January 7, 2014, they both stated, the common claim that raising the minimum wage reduces employment for low-wage workers is one of the most extensively studied issues in empirical economics. This practically means that the cause of decreasing unemployment rates is most possible from natural observations. So since this natural observation was used to determine the solution of increasing since this natural observation was a method that was used to determine the solution of increasing minimum wage for employees, it might be common that all of you are probably wondering, why would I care for the minimum wage to raise if it isn't affecting me? In fact, at some point, it is affecting every one of us, regardless if we're employed or not. So eventually, the majority of us will obtain a job soon, and we will obviously earn the minimum wage due to the amount of hours one has worked. In the article, Employment Effects of Minimum Wages, published by David Newmark in May 2014, he states, minimum wages create winners and losers. So the winners get a higher wage with no reduction in employment or hours, while the losers bear the burden of the disemployment effects by losing their job, having their hours reduced, or finding it more difficult to get a job. So in other words, no matter what the minimum wage is, it produces winners and losers, in which losers receive it worse because they can result in losing hours or losing money by not working, not obtaining those hours. So is this still not making sense for you to understand this concern? I will then explain how it is possible to increase employment rates. Raising the minimum wage can help improve the economy system and will benefit those who are struggling to survive with a low income. There are many ways to raise the minimum wage. There are so many options that it might be difficult to even begin this process. According to Todd Hirsch, author of the newspaper article "We Can Afford to Raise the Minimum Wage" by the National Post, published on October 22nd, 2004, he mentions raising the minimum wage may lead to some incremental increase in unemployment at the lower end of the wage spectrum. It may even make it a more bit difficult for someone seeking work at this pay rate to find a job at all. So by raising the minimum wage in the US, the results might not turn out the way one expects it. So meaning that there might be consequences, such as people having a difficult process to obtain a job because the opportunity of a higher minimum wage was given. So why should the difficultness of seeking a job prevent one from obtaining one? Wouldn't the increase of the minimum wage be worth it? Think about how the increase of minimum wage can earn you the things you really want, especially the needs. So now that you have a better understanding of why the minimum wage should be raised, it is also important to inform you that by agreeing to this process of this act can gain open opportunities for those who are in need of a job. People might have been looking for a job even before the idea of increasing the minimum wage. Now that it is considered to raise the minimum wage, wouldn't it motivate others to be eager in obtaining a job? I think so. I am currently in the situation of looking for a job, and I think the idea of raising the minimum wage can benefit me and look forward to much of a higher pay. If I think this is exciting, this topic should excite you as well. Remember that raising the minimum wage can not only earn you money, but also decrease the unemployment rates and inspire people to work. So let's finish this with a positive thought. We practically went over the results of how raising the minimum wage can have an impact towards us. Increasing the income of those who work is very possible if we just do the most important thing, raising the minimum wage. First, I covered the significance of the unemployment rate and its possibility of decreasing it. And then I discussed how raising the minimum wage can motivate one to seeking a job. So we may have many priorities in our lives, and money should be a concern that we should make a priority. It's time to consider what obstacles could be valuable to our lives. Therefore, we should consider raising the minimum wage